champion for voting rights.
We're going to bring you people that know about business. We're going to bring you people that know about what's going on in the tech. Put some soul into this whole tech thing that's going on.
She's a fighter for the people.
Welcome Reverend Al Sharpton to the show.
Congratulations on the show. She's authentic.
We're bringing Joe Madison, known as the Black Eagle.
Congratulations on having the show. Nothing is more important than the local programs that engage our communities.
She's a proud HBCU grad. It's time for Alicia Reece's Soul Food, Food for the Soul, on Cincinnati's 24-hour urban gospel connection, Inspiration 1050 AM and 103.1 FM, WGRI.
Tourism attraction.
For somebody to put some time into it like that, you got to be real. That's a big sacrifice to step out by yourself.
I dedicated 5 years in getting this to go from vision to reality. We needed to have public and private partnership.
All I saw was a bunch of rocks. I'm like, how you gonna put a Walk of Fame right here?
20 years we've been trying to figure out what to do with that particular one.
What in the world? Like, it's just rocks. You're missing the reason.
So I'm like, what they building or what you doing? What is this? What is she doing?
Just listening to Alicia tell me how it's gonna be, I'm like, we can never make this happen.
Commissioner Alicia Reece had her ups and downs during this entire process. She even had to have knee surgery.
God prepared me for this journey, and I didn't even know it a long time ago.
Commissioner Reece told me, go to Kinko's and print off a flyer. And I mean, this is the morning of.
People from all over the world will come here and understand the stories behind our legends and our icons. We created the culture. It came from right here.
entire state budget. And then I was elected president of the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus statewide. So all the black state reps and state senate, and I was elected 2 terms and was heavily involved and did a lot of huge initiatives, everything from black businesses and going from 1% to 19% doing business with the state, all electing more black legislators, and elected them during a year when Trump actually won. We picked up seats. So was heavily involved, did a tour, get out to vote, all these different things. I can't even think of them, so many, but also launched a voter bill of rights. What does that mean? All the stuff you're hearing about, they're going to take your voting rights and they done changed the rules and they done changed the laws. If we had gotten it on the ballot in the Constitution, they couldn't do nothing without the voters having to vote to make the change. And so many of you may know the one and only Reverend Dr. Otis Moss. I got him to be a petitioner. I was a petitioner. Mr. Smith and Dayton, big with the unions, he was a petitioner. It was the first time blacks had petitioned the state of Ohio for a constitutional amendment. We got 100,000 signatures with no money and almost got to the ballot. Got past all the things you have to do. Get the language, get past the attorney general, get past the board, the ballot board, got all past that. And then went all over the county, all over the state to get 100,000 signatures. And I led that effort. God gave that to me. And we did it after speaking at Dr. King, the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, where Dr. King gave the I Have a Dream speech. I was invited to speak by Reverend Sharpton out of the blue. And I got up and said, no more temporary solutions to permanent problems. That's my theme. Everything we have done and gotten has been temporary. They're getting rid of everything. So we got to go and get things that are permanent, and they're replacing it with permanent stuff. When you appoint somebody to the Supreme Court, it's permanent. The Voting Rights Act is an act, has to be renewed every so many years. It was not permanent. Now, Dr. King did it when they had, one black congressperson? We got to get it done now. People talk about D.C. statehood. What frustrates me is we could have got D.C. statehood. We won the presidency with Obama. We won the Congress that year. We won the Senate that year. What is told is we can't play around. We get to, we start talking about processing this. Don't let me be the president of the United States. It'll be done in 30 days. But we always were into process. We were playing setup basketball. They're playing fast break. So now that we see the president that's in there now, we like, wait a minute, we could have been at D.C. statehood. So when we get to these positions, we got to move quickly, intentionally. And so, but anyway, voter bill of rights, I got to the Democratic National Convention. God made it where I became the DNC vice chair of the convention in 2016. No one down here from Southwest Ohio has ever done that. But they ain't gonna tell you about it. They act like it never happened. Of the entire convention. And so at the convention, I got a chance to kind of see how all that works. And I was on the platform drafting. That's what's the platform for the National Democrats? And I was able to get the voter bill of rights in the platform. Once I got it in the platform, that means anybody around the country, Democrat, could pick up that platform. Well, Michigan picked it up. Michigan, and because they didn't go, I couldn't get the money because black and a woman and who she thinks she is, and and I'm in Ohio. We were ahead, but we didn't do it. the so-called people that said they were for voting rights didn't step up because it wasn't their idea. But it got done in Michigan. Person picked it up, and he said, hey, the money flowed in for him. And they got it on the ballot, and that's why Michigan don't have the voting problems that we have. Because they've taken the idea and the concept that came from what God gave me, called the Voter Bill of Rights. We got it in the platform, passed by all 50 state delegates in all 50 states. And someone said, this is a good idea. Let's pick it up and do it. And so they're in the Constitution. You want to get in the Constitution if you can, because it's permanent. It don't matter who, this person elected, that person. So they're in the state of Michigan Constitution. They want to change them. They got to go back to the voters. So it empowers the people. So those are some of the things I was able to do. I came back. My time was up. I was out of office for 2 years. Now, the first time I left City Hall, I was out of office for 5 years. Most people don't make no 5-year comeback. They usually forget you in 50 seconds when you leave office. But I've always been involved in the community. Elected official is just a platform. I've been doing shows for 30 years. So I don't stop because I'm not elected or whatever. It's a platform. And so anyway, I was out for 5 years, came back, became a state representative. I was out for 2 years and came back and became a very difficult race. I had a tough primary. People were betting across the state, could Alicia Reece win? I had a 3-person primary. And I won and became a county commissioner in the primary, thanks to y'all. And that's when they had stopped the election. You had to vote by mail. Yeah, I didn't know how to vote by mail. I hadn't even voted by mail. I didn't know they had no drop box. We learned about it and we got the word out. And then we came out of that and we were in a general election. Altogether, it's about $1.5 million trying to stop me from getting that seat. And I got the seat. We won county commission. And many of you didn't know what a county commissioner does. And some still don't today. But my goal was to try to educate you. And I didn't know everything over at the county. They didn't let us over there. So when we get over there, we got to learn what's going on. Where's the money? Who's doing what? And so there's so many things that the county, they have been shifting over to the county, and you're not paying attention because you don't know what's going on over there. And it was a rubber stamping machine over there. But we have opened the door. We have shaken it up. We've opened the process. We're learning more. We've got, I've got some ideas I'm throwing out. We got to be creative because it's going to be some tough times. So with that, my message before I bring my mayor on, my message is a couple things. People said, one person told me, I can't vote for you because I'm in Springfield Township. So I want to just tell you that the county, what makes up a state is counties. In Ohio, there's 88 counties. If you live where I live down here, you're in Southwest Ohio. We are in Hamilton County. So we're one of the 88. We're the 3rd largest county in the state of Ohio. Cuyahoga County has Cleveland in it. Franklin County has Columbus. Within each county, what makes a county is cities, townships, and villages. So Lincoln Heights is a village, but it's in Hamilton County. City of Cincinnati is one city that is in Hamilton County. Lincoln Heights Village is in Hamilton County, but also City of Cincinnati. City of Norwood is in Hamilton County. Springfield Township is in Hamilton County. So that's what makes up the states. So now we got statewide races coming. and they have to win throughout the state. And they've got to go to where these counties. And inside of these counties are what? Cities, villages, and townships. So I have cities, villages, and townships. I have several mayors. And when you in a township, you got trustees. If you in a village, you got council members. If you in a city, you got council members. You got mayors and council members. That's how it works. So I'm trying to give you the basics so you can understand. Now, this election that's coming up this year, we've got races for judges. We've got statewide, the governor, the secretary of state, the attorney general, the auditor for the whole state are all on the ballot and more. Last year, there were a lot of cities and villages that had elections. So you had mayors, city council members, and then you had trustees in the townships. So that's how I go. I'm going to keep kind of educating you because we got to understand the system before you can take on the system. And so the races that are coming up now will be the ones in charge that affects your property taxes. I'm mad about these property taxes. They don't went up too high and all that. Now you got them. The state representatives will be on the ballot. The state, some state senators, some of them, not all of them, may be on the ballot. The governor will be on the ballot. So now, some of these state issues that are affecting you will be on the ballot. And we'll be talking more about that on Alicia Reece Soul Food, the hot sauce. And I want to educate. Remember, we must be educated if we're going to fight. We cannot fight if we ain't educated. And no offense, we talking about a dress. But ICE just killed somebody. We're talking about a dress. But Duke Energy done went up on your gas and electric bill. We talking about a dress. I mean, let's be real. We're talking about a dress. And some people, I know some people that lost their jobs, gave them a little buyout and said, you out. We're talking about a dress. Property taxes done jumped through the roof. And I wish they put on, I'm not for them high property taxes. Y'all know that. I've been fighting like I don't know what. Actually, they were going to go up on your closing costs to sell a house. And I fought against it. And I'm happy to say it did not get in the final budget. But we talking about a dress. And they talking about Venezuela and Cuba and folks couldn't get back from the Caribbean. And but we talking about a dress. Governor races are coming up. Who's going to be the governor? Congress is coming up. They say we got to get to Congress. That's the only way they can fight back. But we talking about a dress in our community. We got to wake up, people. Many of you have been purged, meaning you're not even registered anymore. Just like they tried to take my page. They done purged you from voting. We got to get registered. We got to get involved in the primary races. Remember when I ran, I had to come out of a primary. We got primaries as our warm up, and then we got to put up or shut up in November. We've been doing a lot of talking on social media. Got more people talking on social media than I see going over there to the polls to vote. We marching, but I need some marching to the polls. Your power source, you know how you plug your phone in? And they got a power. I got to plug in for power. The power source is the ballot box. Now, I'm not on there. Well, I'll be on there as a precinct executive. So y'all will see my name. So I appreciate if you give me a vote. But more importantly, the power source is at the ballot box. And you might say, well, I voted and my person didn't get in. Well, you was watching football and your team ain't going to get to the Super Bowl. Ain't even in the playoffs. but you still was watching. We were watching Sunday, the Bengals versus the Browns. Neither one of them going nowhere but home. But we all, man, it's the Battle of Ohio. We was watching. And no matter who won, it didn't control your household. But it was fun. So I'm going to be pushing. We're going to launch my annual voting. Get out to vote. Voting is essential. I've been doing it all the time. It's my whole life. Voting is essential, and we're going to plug into the power source called the ballot box. We're going to make sure that you're registered. Don't say, I vote all the time. They got me on. Yeah, they got you. I'm all the time on Facebook. I came up in here. They done tried to erase me off the internet. It's some new dimes. So we got to double check our voting. We got to register. Young people say, I want to be heard. Well, we're going to hear you at the ballot box. At the ballot box, the power source. So just wanted to give y'all that. Like I said, I'm a speak, but we gonna teach, because we have to know what's going on. We can't keep up. We go to bed, we wake up, we don't know what happened. We done went to war. We done went to bed. We done woke up. What? I done lost my job. You done went to bed and woke up. I done lost my house. You done went to bed and woke up. Somebody done got shot and killed. 11-year-old girl. Come on, y'all. It's not okay. It's not okay. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not for increasing the income tax, but I'm not on city council for Cincinnati. But I'm not for that. You're going to tax me to be safe. I thought I was already paying taxes to be safe. We can't afford it. It's a bad economic times right now. Everything's going up except your check. So we got to keep that in mind, okay? All right, now let me go to Covington. I'm coming out of Ohio. Let me get on over to Kentucky, and let me get across to Kentucky and bring on the first Black Mayor of Covington, Kentucky. I got some echo. I don't know why. Can y'all please help me on that? Mr. Ronald Washington, Mayor of Covington, Kentucky. Welcome. Do I have him?
Hello, Commissioner. How are you?
Oh my gosh, there he is. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Well, Mayor, I want to say congratulations to you. And how long you been in office now?
Oh, just a little over a year. It's my first year as mayor. I guess it'd be a year and a few days, nine days. A year and 9 days. Before that, of course, I was a city commissioner. I was the vice mayor of Covington for the last 2 terms. And then I ran for mayor and unopposed, and been blessed to be mayor of our city.
Well, when you say unopposed, that means people say, wait a minute, don't go up against him. They said, do not go up against him. Now talk about.
I see you. It shows me that you're muted, Commissioner.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Am I muted now?
Yeah, you're unmuted now. Yes.
Okay. Tell the people how the council is made up there. Like how many council members? How was it structured?
Absolutely. That's a great question, a great timing. So the city of Covington is actually going through a change. We are currently in what's called the city manager form of government, but it's a weak city manager form of government. And the commission is made up of 4 commissioners and the mayor. The mayor currently votes with the body, with the commissioners. And we tell the city manager how to do her job, and we do that through our ordinances and our orders. So, but we had a referendum the last election, and the citizens of Covington voted to go to a mayor-council form of government, which in layman's terms, that means a strong mayor form of government, where the mayor is actually the CEO. And in 1 year, in the middle of my term, I'll be in charge of day-to-day operations, and we'll switch from a city manager to having a city administrator.
Wow. Now, so that's this year, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it'll be 27, 1/1/27 is
27.
when the new government's formed. Right now, there's an election going on for the council seats. So we're going from 4 city commissioners to 6 council members. And matter of fact, the filing deadline's today at 4 o'clock here in Kentucky. And last reporting is that I think there's about 8 people that have signed on the dotted line to be council members.
Wow, that's amazing. So you ran for with a certain type of government,
Yes.
and now you're going to transfer into, what they call a strong mayor, former
Strong
governor.
mayor. And I truly believe this is the best forum for our community and our city, because the buck should stop for the mayor, with the mayor. And it's important, I think, that you have elected officials that you put in office that are advocating for your needs. And this as an elected official, it's our job to know what's happening in the community and for the community to inform us. And we advocate on their behalf. And we do that through our laws and our tax structures and allocation of the budget. But when you have somebody in the middle of that, a bureaucrat, that could get in the way of what our community truly needs. Now, it's a tough spot a lot of times, because you already know this too. You sometimes have to have a tough conversation with the community, because we can't do everything that everybody wants to do. But I think it comes better from someone that they're familiar with, that they voted for, that's part of the community, to give that message.
Yeah, I mean, I always believe that the voters should have the final say, and I've always been one to, because if they don't like something that their elected officials are doing, they can vote them out. But then you
Mm,
have folks who never have to face the voters.
right.
And what to me, it creates what I call shadow government,
Mm,
which I'm totally against. And I'm always, now that I've come into the county, and I'm always concerned about it, because I'm seeing a lot of it where you know, the campaigning goes on and the people get elected, but then there's someone in the shadows that's calling the shots. They're just showing up as window dressing. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, you get elected, now hand it over to to the hand it over to the administrative people, and then they go off and then they're talking to different people with different agendas. And like me, I got to get 218,000 votes to have a say, and
mm,
then they come up and then they say, no, we're not going with it. And then the people hold you accountable as the elected official. Why didn't you get this done? And I think that's one of the problems that's happening right now in government. You got one group where it's all this process, 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 and you've got the people saying, I need help right now. You said you were going to do something, and then you get there, and then you're like, oh, I couldn't do it because it's so and so and so and so. They want to be able to say, if you're not doing what we want to get you out of there.
mhm.
And if you are doing what we want to keep you in there. But if you got, like you said, that buffer that comes in that basically says, well, thank y'all for going through the exercise of running for office. We'll take it from here now. Now we're in charge. We're big shots. We're calling shots. We're over the money. We're writing the checks. We're in charge. And you basically are just window dressing. In my opinion, I call it shadow government. I'm fighting against shadow government every day. And so Covington will be going into this new process. Tell us what's happening in Covington. So we got people who listen to us and watch us who may not even know the difference between Covington and Newport. Tell us about what's happening in Covington. What is Covington about?
Absolutely. So, as we call ourselves the southern side of Cincinnati. Of course, we're in a different state. We're in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. The city of Covington is a population of approximately 43,000 people. We're the fifth largest. We are the fifth largest city in the state of Kentucky, and I am the first African American to serve in one of the large 5 cities in our state. So that's Covington, Kentucky. Our government, we have about 400 employees, 400 plus employees that work here in the city on behalf of our community. As many of your listeners probably realize, Covington is seeing an incredible resurgence. You know, we're going far from the place where you just come over to get cheap cigarettes and liquor to a place where, you know, we have outstanding restaurants. We were just named last year one of the top 50 cities in the United States by Money Magazine. We have a restaurant called Carmelo's, an Italian restaurant, was named the second best restaurant in the United States. HGTV just gave us an award. So if you haven't been in Covington, you might want to swing by. We have a riverfront development. We have a lot of things that are happening there. And one of the things that we sell to developers and wanting them to come build buildings and create jobs and homes in our community is the proximity to Hamilton County. And, you will be looking at your Hamilton County Stadium, the Reds and the Bengals. You get to experience that. So Covington has a lot to offer. A lot of good things are happening north of 12th Street. But, Commissioner, I often remind the people here at City Hall, I don't work for anybody inside City Hall. I work for everybody outside City Hall. And everybody's not feeling all the good things that are happening in our city. And I realize that, and we're focused on that. Housing is a critical issue in our city. We have people that are really contributing in society. They're working people, but they can't find a place to live. They're sleeping on the couch. They're sleeping in the basement, but they're working. But, to quote the guy that was running for New York City Council, the rent's too damn high. But we don't have rent control in Kentucky. So I created a plan where we're taking our vacant lots. We have 200 vacant lots and abandoned buildings throughout our city. And we want to build on that. And we told our developers, profit and nonprofit, build on these lots. Let us make it easy to build on these lots so we can get the working class, school teachers, police officers, firefighters, people that you're looking at every day doing the job, the service industry, so they can have a place to stay. So our emphasis in our little world of Covington, Kentucky, doing everything we can to help the people, what I call south of 12th Street. So that's our service right now.
Wow. We're talking to the mayor of Covington, Kentucky, and you just dropped so much knowledge. Tell us about the bridge now. The Brent Spence Bridge. We hear a lot, of course. You had, Governor Beshear, and then you had, Governor DeWine, and we had all the people come down, and it looks like it's going to move. U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown was in office then, so you had all these people, bipartisan, coming down. You got the city of Cincinnati. You've got Kentucky. Are you involved? I mean, obviously, it impacts Covington. Are you involved with the bridge? And tell us a little bit about that on your side of the river.
Sure, absolutely. We are involved in the bridge project. It's the largest infrastructure project that's funded in the United States right now between our two states. We have a person here at City Hall that's their assignment is the Brent Spence Bridge corridor. And the first thing I have to say is people have to realize is there's going to be a companion bridge built beside the Brent Spence Bridge, but there is not going to be a bridge closure between Cincinnati and Covington. There will always be open. So we are very involved. We have created a program here at City Hall called Bridging the Gap, because people need to know it's going to be still easy to get to Covington. Covington is still open for business. You still want to come and do business here in our city. There's going to be a way to do that. We're going to communicate that. We're going to communicate a strategy to get to our city during these orange barrels and somewhat disruption. Now, our partnership with the state of Kentucky is good though, because they're saying we're going to give you plenty of heads up on any lane closures, but there will always be entry into the city of Covington off the bridge. There will always. So you'll always be able to get to downtown Covington. But you asked, when's the project starting? Really, It's already kind of started.
It started already?
Yeah, people haven't seen it though. They're already taking down electrical poles, making making room for, the power structure, the grid. They've acquired property. They're setting up shop. The bridge is a design as you go kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I got a report this morning that 60% of it has been designed. So we're expecting that in the spring, early summer, that's when you're going to start seeing the lane closures, and the general public's really going to be able to put their eye that the construction's happening.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that we're talking about is jobs.
Yes.
And that's what I'm concerned about, making sure people around the region benefit from the jobs.
Absolutely. And Commissioner, to your point, I was just in a meeting with one of our trade union reps, and they were telling me that right now they're short of approximately 300 welders, 300 welders for just this project. And they will provide the training. So they'll provide the training to be a welder for this project. So there's many trades jobs that's available out there. And as we both know, those are good jobs, and we in Kentucky and Covington, we don't look down on a college education. We don't say that, but we also say, take a look at your trades, because you can put your money in your pocket real quick. And also you get these construction companies that will put you through trade schools. So we're big on that, and we as a city have invested in trade school because of our historic homes and people building. So please, people, take a look at that. There's jobs out there for that.
Now you say it's a new day, and we see it because you are the mayor. New day in Covington. Tell us about, we're getting ready to go into Martin Luther King uh, weekend and birthday, and people don't understand Martin Luther King birthday. It was a tough thing. It wasn't like, oh, let's have a birthday and you got the resolution passed in 2 days. I mean, it was lots of marching, lots of organizing. Coretta Scott King, the late Coretta Scott King, Stevie Wonder, everybody to get this holiday. But to me, it's even more special because when you think about coming from Kentucky at that time and the slaves trying to get away, and then they get to the Ohio River and they make a decision to jump in and never had swim lessons. I mean, that really, I still can't get over. They never had swim lessons. They got across some way, somehow. Some didn't, but many did. And we're going into that, and we're going into, Black History Month and those kind of things. And so to see we get to the edge, and in Covington, now we have a first black mayor of Kentucky, Covington, Kentucky, at a time when, wow, what would Dr. King say? What would the slaves say? What would Harriet Tubman say? It was worth jumping in the river. As we go into that time, because there's probably some kid looking at you and saying, man, I can do that one day. Can you talk a little bit about that role that you think you play in terms of that?
Well, absolutely. I feel that it's my duty, and it's almost a calling to be in front of our school children, so they can realize Dr. King's dream, so they can realize that, ooh, maybe I can be the mayor of Covington. So I make sure I share my story. I remember sitting in elementary school over here in Covington, and I remember they had all the presidents over top of the chalkboard. I guess back then it was probably from Washington to Reagan or maybe Carter or something like that. And I remember sitting there thinking, I can't be president. Those people don't look like me, and that's from a kid's standpoint. And so it's always been important for me to make sure that we're in our elementary school, in our high school, and so people can lay eyes on me and understand, and I can tell them my story and how I got in the place that I am. And if it was not for Dr. King and all the people that struggled and were dog bitten and and were arrested unlawfully and were terribly abused, I would not be sitting in the mayor's office. And I'm very aware of that. But I also want to give hats off to our community, because people don't maybe not realize it. There's probably only an 8 or 9% African American population here now in Covington. I ran unopposed. So that says something. That says something about our community, that they're willing to judge me on the content of my character, as Dr. King says. And so I'm very aware of that. And I think we've come a long way. but I'm not a fool. I still look in my rearview mirror if I'm driving down the road at night, and I still would get nervous if the police would pull me over. So I am a black man, and I understand that we necessarily can't do what the majority does, even though we may have the legal right to do it. So I am aware of that. And I've tried to make some changes here in our community. For instance, the city manager that I selected and the Board of Commissioners gave me the blessing, she's of color. She's an Indian woman. So she is the first woman of color to serve in that capacity for the city of Covington. We have put on many minorities on our boards through appointment powers. Our city wouldn't be able to survive without our volunteer boards. So we make sure that we look for the right people to be on that board. And what I'm saying about that is the people that have the qualifications to be on that board. Many of us have a lot of the qualifications, but sometimes we don't know where to look. It's our job, at least it's my job. I look at it as my job to go the extra mile to make sure that people are being represented, that represents our community, are on those boards. That's what I think. We also have a Hispanic population here, and that's important too, that our Hispanic brothers and sisters are included in the government. And so we want to make sure we've got some work to do to make sure that our fire and police department are reflective of our true community. Every day, we're working hard, but I do feel blessed to be in this position.
Absolutely. Before we go, I want you to share your story with you. People say, "Hey, okay, he's the mayor. We see him, but how did he get into this? Were you in politics? Tell people how you got here."
Well, thank you. So basically, I won't bore you with all the details, but my mom, who I was adopted at a very young age. She was always involved in the community. So community service for my brothers and sisters were always very important. I lived in a pretty rough part of Covington at that time, and the only thing that brought quiet to me as a young child's eyes was the police. The police would come to our neighborhood and they would quiet things down. So I knew I wanted to be a part of helping my neighbors by quieting things down. And so I decided to be a police officer at a very young age. So I went on to be a Florence police officer. And I was the first African American in the city of Florence as a police officer. So I did most of my career there. But I always loved politics, and that was because of my mom. She always would talk about politics and the power of the vote and getting involved in your community. So I was always working on the side on a campaign or this or that, became a news junkie, a political walk. And then I had an opportunity to be involved in a sheriff's race in Kenton County, my home county. And the gentleman won the race, and then I became his right hand. I became the chief deputy. So in essence, I became the highest ranking law enforcement officer in Northern Kentucky. And then with that, after I retired, I had an opportunity to open a business in medication and treatment centers, which is fancy word for treating people that were addicted to drugs. And it was a fight. I actually had to sue the city of Covington to open our clinic. Yeah, people actually came to city council and protested against me. So when I was asked to run for city commission, I was thinking, these people, there's no way. But by the time I ran, people would say, yeah, I remember you opened the clinic and you helped so-and-so. So that actually translated into votes, and I was the highest vote getter. So with that, we expanded the business and became the largest provider of medication-assisted treatment in the state of Kentucky. Since then, the business sold, and I just kind of followed my wife around, and she's a lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force Reserve. And so I just followed her around and had an opportunity to serve on one of those boards. And then someone asked me, the former mayor asked me to run for city commission, and I won, and I'm here, and it's the best job ever to give back. It is a blessing to help people with the small problems that have burdened them so much, and now they feel like they have a friend and they can call, and it's easy to help them with the small problems, but it's so big in their life.
Wow, what an incredible story. So, listen, I want to thank you for being on Alicia Reece Soul Food, and we'll have to have you back when you got different projects going. But as we go into, going into that season, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and we're going in that season, Black History Month, and all that, it's right here, and history is happening right now. But we're the beneficiaries of so
Absolutely.
many people that sacrifice. So, Mayor, we'll have to have you come back on. We appreciate you being with us, and looking forward to continue to work with you.
Thank you, ma'am. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being a trailblazer for me to follow behind you and all the elected officials right across the river.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. We are getting ready to wrap up for Alicia Reece Soul Food, Food for the Soul. And yeah, next week we're getting ready for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Um, birthday. And when we think about this, of course, we've got to really think this was not easy to get. There were a lot of turn downs, a lot of no's, and those kind of things. And now we have this holiday, this day of remembrance and dedication, and it's so important. So we've got a number of programs. See a lot of programs, a lot of singing, a lot of praying. We definitely need a lot of that. But look around and how we are beneficiaries of Dr. King and so many others who died for us to have the right to vote. It's free, y'all. You just got to get up and go and vote. But guess what? They're trying to make it hard. We're going to make sure you have the right thing to take with you when you do vote. We're going to make sure that you got to double check those. Oh, girl, I've been voting for 50 years. That's who they coming after, because they know you're not going to check. So we're going to double check our IDs to make sure that when we get in there and vote, they can't have any excuses. No excuses of why you can't vote. This is a showdown. This is a showdown. Y'all say y'all mad and y'all don't like what's happening in Washington, and you're afraid what's happening to the world and what's happening to our country and all of that. Get up and vote. And it's gonna be in your hands in a minute. The power, plug it in. We're going to get to plug into the power source. And you're going to have to make a choice. You're either going to plug in or you're going to let the lights go out. Plug in or let the lights go out. So what can you be doing right now? You need to be making sure everybody is registered. You've got to make sure, what can you be doing right now? You got to make sure that you're on the rolls. And I don't want to hear, oh, that don't matter. And it's a whole lot of stuff not mattering that you're a part of. The dress don't matter, but you're talking about it. Come on. We got to wake up. This is real deal stuff now. SNAP benefits come on, man. They cut it for a couple. They had the SNAP benefits cut. They will do it. Everybody on SNAP need to be registered to vote. I don't want to hear anybody walk around the grocery store on SNAP. You on SNAP benefits for you and your families, and girl, I ain't vote. You need to be the first one in there voting, because it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you a dime. You don't have to be the CEO of the corporation to vote. That's why they scared. They shaking in their boots. They hoping that you will not be smart enough. Your battery is on low. You got your cell phone that says low battery. They're hoping that you let the battery run out. They pray you don't plug in the cord and have sense enough to plug it into the wall for the power source. They want you to just run on out. They're hoping you keep talking on the phone, keep talking till you burn out. No battery, and then what happens? It shuts off. So we're not going to do that. We're going to take the cord. It says low battery. We ain't got but 20%. That means we ain't got much time. We're going to register. We're going to double check our ID. We're going to plug the cord in, and we're going to plug into the power source. As Pretty Ford's song says, I got the power. You got the power. They hoping you don't use the power. Don't get confused and you will not lose. We got to get some hats made. Don't get confused and you will not lose. You can't erase what God creates. We got to have some hats out here. Teresa Burns, where you at? But the power is coming to you, y'all. It's getting ready to come right on your front porch. Everybody that was mad about SNAP, everybody that was in telling me I got to pull up for the pantries, all the food pantry people, all the SNAP benefit people, all the mothers out there, all the fathers out there, all the senior citizens that's so concerned, all the veterans that just came home and can't get a loan, all of y'all. We marching. All the people that's in the streets saying we mad as hell. I want you to plug in the power source. We're marching to the polls. We're marching to the polls. And we're plugging in to the power source. Your power is coming. Don't give it up. It's on the way. Keep tuned to Alicia Reece Soul Food. Follow me everywhere. They taking me out over here. They taking me out over there. Follow me everywhere and share. The power is coming to you. Your vote is power. Don't give it up. We're bringing the hot sauce. Peace. Thank you, Mayor, for being on the show.